Howdy, Jimmy, the Troubles in Paradise guy here for video number 8 on explaining some of the wackaloon notions and problems that go on in anti-evolutionism. This one's on evolution and the Bermuda Triangle effects. When you look at things like transitional forms in the fossil record and fossil gaps in the fossil record and how much you can reconcile one with the other, anti-evolutionists are pathological in how they only pay attention to the gaps and not the stuff around the gaps. And one of the things you encounter routinely when they're talking about a fossil gap is the anti-evolutionist never bothers to do a really fundamental thing, which is like look at what the geological record is, what are the odds that a particular critter is going to be fossilized or not, and see whether or not maybe there's a logical reason for the air quotes gap. A perfectly fine example of this was Duane Gish, the old young earth creationist, who died a few years back. And in one of his books, he harumphed that there were no transitional forms in the middle Cretaceous deposits for Triceratops. Ta-da! Well, that sparked something that in my memory. If you look at a geologic column, the Cretaceous period is in the Mesozoic, that's the dinosaur era. There's a Triassic and a Jurassic and a Cretaceous. And if you look in a regular geology chart, there's an early, middle, and late Triassic, and an early, middle, and late Jurassic, and early and late Cretaceous. Literally, there is no middle Cretaceous. Why? Because erosion was winning out over deposition during that period, and there are so few rocks deposits known from that period, which is roughly about 100 million years ago, that they didn't even bother with a middle Cretaceous. It's either early or late Cretaceous. And Gish never bothered to check that out to see where you would find rocks of the right age and right location. Because in order to be able to see transitional forms in great detail for a Triceratops, you'd need to have ones up in North America, in Montana, in Alberta, and other areas, and they would need to be earlier than the deposits that we actually have, which are a bit later in the Cretaceous and right at the end of the Cretaceous. Some of them are bumping up against the KT mass extinction episode. So he's trying to slip one under the realm here. And this reminded me of how Bermuda Triangle people defend their arguments, where they'll talk all up the yin-yang about mysterious ship disappearances and never quite explain that there was the worst hurricane in 20 years that went through that area on the mysterious ship disappearance night. Could that have had something to do with the mysterious ship disappearance? So the failure to look up relevant forensic information about a geological deposit is in the same class as the Bermuda Triangle defense people. And so that's why I call this whole classification issue as the Bermuda Triangle defense. And you'll find it over and over again. It won't be just young earth creationists using it. When the next time you read an anti-evolution source talking about fossil gaps, look to see whether they even bother to check out the geology, or what's a fancy word called taphonomy, which is the science of how you figure out why a particular thing has ended up fossilized as it is. Has to do with why certain bits and pieces are more likely to be fossilized than others, whether or not, say, birds or bats or other critters that have extremely fragile bones and have a really bad fossil record in a lot of ways, whether that bears upon whether or not there's a reason why you don't have as good a fossil record as you need on that. So that's video number 8, a brief and cursory investigation. You can find out a lot about the Bermuda Triangle defense argument in the Dinomania chapter at my #tip website that goes into flood geology and deals with a lot of that. And I make use of that also repeatedly in the new Evolution Slam Dunk book on the reptile-mammal transition. I'll put links to all of that up in the video description. So there's video number 8. Field me questions on Twitter or anywhere on the #tip website. I welcome that, and I would love to do comments on any kind of issues in the creation evolution issue that may come to mind. An idea worth having is one worth defending, and stupid ideas are worth opposing, stridently but politely. Thank you.